That Super Bowl loss did more than end the Patriots season. It changed the way everyone has to look at this team. 29-13 is not a close score, and for most of the night, it never felt close. Seattle was calm, physical, and in control. New England looked tight, slow to adjust, and a step behind. For a team that just went on a dream run through the AFC, the biggest game of the year showed they are not fully built for that stage yet. Drive after drive, the same problems kept showing up. The offense stalled early, the run game never took control, and the turnovers came at the worst possible times. The defense fought, but when your offense keeps giving the ball away and flipping the field, even a good group is going to break late. This was not about one bad throw or one blown block. It was the kind of game that pulls back the curtain on the whole roster and shows where it is thin. The key point is simple. This team just had one of the best seasons in the league, but the Super Bowl proved they still have work to do if they want to stay at that level. The path in the AFC will get tougher, not easier. And when you talk about how they fix it, who they build around, and how high the ceiling really is, it all points to one person now, Drake Maye. Drake Maye is the reason the Patriots were even on that stage in the first place. He turned a broken team into a real contender in 1 year. He handled a new staff, new system, and heavy pressure, and still played like one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Week after week, he made big throws, dragged the offense through rough spots, and gave this fan base something it has not had since the old era ended: real belief in the future. But that last game also showed he is still learning. The reads were a little late, the ball stayed in his hands a little too long, and when the pocket started to crumble, the mistakes came fast. That does not mean he is a problem, it means he needs more help and more time. He has not played as many full seasons as some of the other top quarterbacks, and you can still see that in how he handles chaos. The good news is, he clearly cares, he clearly works, and he clearly feels every loss. So when we talk about what comes next for the Patriots, everything now has to be built around him. You do not waste a young quarterback who can play at this level. You give him better protection, a stronger run game, and weapons who win when it matters most. If New England wants to turn one great year into a real window, the first job is simple. Protect Drake Maye better than they did this season. When you look back at this season, one thing jumps off the screen. Drake Maye was under fire way too often. In some games, he escaped it. In the Super Bowl, he did not. The rush got home, pockets closed fast, and there were too many snaps where he had to rush throws or take hits. That is not a winning formula when you want your young quarterback to carry you for years. The truth is simple. This line has some young talent, but it is not a finished product. Will Campbell is big, tough, and has real upside, but he is still learning how to handle top pass rushers every snap. Inside, there were times when the middle of the pocket caved in and the run blocking did not move people off the ball. When your left side and your interior are both shaky at key moments, your whole offense feels it. Drives stall, the playbook shrinks, and mistakes follow. If the Patriots want to stay near the top of the AFC, this has to be fixed with real intent, not just hope. That means better coaching, smarter depth, and upgrades where the front office knows the ceiling is not high enough. And that brings us to a bigger question that sits behind all of this. How well have they really built this roster through past drafts? And where have they already fallen short? For all the praise the Patriots are getting for their latest rookie class, there is a quiet problem sitting underneath it. The years before 2025 did not bring the same level of help. Some picks were moved on quickly, some never earned a real role, and some spots are still being patched with veterans because the young guys did not grow into starters. On paper, the team looks loaded, but once you get past the first line on the depth chart, the drop in talent shows up fast. This is where the gap shows between New England and the real long-term powers in the league. The best teams stack 2 or 3 strong drafts in a row. They find starters on day 2 and day 3, and those players become cheap, steady pieces all over the field. The Patriots have a few hits with Christian Gonzalez as the best example, but too many other names from the 2023 and 2024 classes either stalled or left. That leaves the staff leaning on older free agents and one great rookie group to cover holes that should have been filled by now. You can get away with that for one big run when everyone stays healthy and the ball bounces your way. The danger comes when the schedule tightens, injuries pile up, and you are asking backups to play like starters against top AFC teams. Then the lack of stacked draft classes really hurts. And when you look at how last season played out, it is fair to ask how much of that Super Bowl trip came from true roster strength and how much came from the path they were given. When you rewind the playoff run, you can see the breaks New England got along the way. The first game came against a Chargers team that fell apart in the biggest moments, with their quarterback forcing throws and their protection leaking from the inside. In the next round, CJ Stroud had the worst half of football of his season, throwing the ball straight to Patriots defenders over and over. Those games still count, the wins were earned, but you cannot ignore how much the opponents helped. Then came the AFC title game, and the Broncos were not the same group that fought through the year. They were rolling until their starter went down, and by the time they faced New England, they were leaning on a backup who simply could not match what this defense brought. On top of that, the usual giant in the conference, Kansas City, was sitting at home. No Mahomes, no Reed, no trip to Arrowhead. In one postseason, the Patriots got a road that most teams in the AFC only dream about. None of this means the season was fake or that the Patriots did not deserve their spot. It does mean the league will not hand them that kind of run every year. Next time, they might see Mahomes, a Lamar or Josh Allen instead of a backup or a young passer having a meltdown. That is why this front office cannot act like everything is fine. They have to treat last year as a gift and use it to push even harder in free agency and team building, because they will not get the same kind of help again. Last offseason, the Patriots front office hit almost every move. Veterans like Morgan Moses, Garrett Bradbury, Harold Landry, Robert Spillane, and Milton Williams gave them real value for what they were paid. They brought toughness, leadership, and steady play at spots where the team had been weak. That is a big reason why the defense looked so sharp and why the offense could function even when the young guys were still figuring things out. But this is the harsh part of the story. Most of those players are not in their mid-20s anymore. The linemen and linebackers who have taken hits for years do not usually keep getting better as they pass 30. Bodies wear down, small injuries add up, and the chance of missing weeks grows. Counting on the same older core to play at the same level again is a gamble, no matter how much respect they earned this year. So the front office has to treat last free agency as a bonus, not a new normal. They need to use the time those vets bought them to bring in younger help and plan for the day when those names slow down or move on. And that gets even trickier when you remember what is coming on the business side. Big contracts are on the way for the stars of this roster, and every dollar they spend now has to fit around those deals. The next big test for this team is not a game, it is the checkbook. Christian Gonzalez is now in line for a top corner deal, and that kind of contract changes everything. Not long after that, Drake Maye will be due a massive extension of his own. When your shutdown corner and your franchise quarterback both move into that pay range, you do not get to live in the same soft cap world anymore. Every mistake with role players and mid-level starters starts to hurt more. On top of that, there are names on this roster who carry big price tags without matching production at the biggest moments. Stephon Diggs did not play like a true number one during the playoff run, but his number on the books is huge. Edge players like Kayvon Chaisson, who just had a strong year, will want to see what the open market looks like. Safeties and linemen who did their job in this run will ask to be paid like it. New England cannot say yes to everyone, and if they guess wrong on who to keep and who to let walk, it will show up on Sundays. This is why the coming offseason has to be sharp and careful. They need to lock in their real pillars, avoid emotional deals based only on one hot season, and clear money where the impact is not worth the cost. They have a chance right now to shape the next 3 to 5 years with smart moves. The only way to keep this window open is to match those money choices with a clear plan for how they rebuild and add to the roster from here. This offseason is where we find out if the Patriots are serious about staying at the top or if last year was just a one-time rush. They cannot just run it back and hope for better luck. They need stronger bodies on both lines, more power in the run game, and at least one more receiver with real size who can win tight throws when the field shrinks. This is not about chasing flashy names. It is about adding tough, reliable players in the spots that broke down when the pressure was highest. The plan has to be simple and focused. First, protect the quarterback. That means upgrading tackle depth and shoring up the inside so the pocket holds longer in big games. Second, keep the pass rush alive even if one of the current edge guys leaves. A fresh, younger rusher who can win one-on-one is not a luxury anymore, it is a need. Third, give Drake Maye a bigger target who can beat press coverage and bail him out on 3rd and long. Those 3 things alone would change how this offense looks in January. If they get those moves right, the team walks into next season with real answers instead of excuses. Now, with a better line, more punch at receiver, and a steady rush rotation, they would not need every break in the bracket to make noise. They could line up against Mahomes, Lamar, Allen, or anyone else and actually feel built for that fight. That is the goal now. Take the lesson from the Super Bowl, build around your young star, and turn one big year into the start of something that actually lasts. Blessings to all my subscribers, family. Your support means everything. Stay tuned, stay sharp, and I catch you in the next one.